actual dimensions of a table runner. How do you determine what size is perfect for your table? And are there rules, or can we just make what we want to make? This is Laurie of Laurie's Sewing, and I did not receive the fabric that I was looking forward to receiving today. Today is Friday. It's March the 5th of 2021, and I believe there might be some fabric. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Blue Imperial Batiste by Speckler Vogel in my mailbox. However, it's raining and super windy outside. Rather than put myself at risk on a day like today, I'm not going to go look unless it clears up. It might. I live in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State. There are some guidelines, if you want them, for sizing a table runner for your table. And those basic guidelines are, it should approximately equal 1/3 the width of your table and allow for a 6-inch overhang on each end. The other thing that you can keep in mind if you're just wanting to make a table runner and you don't want to have to get up and go in there and measure the table and come back and figure it out, what's 1/3 of this and how many inches is 1/3 minus whatever, you can basically say, table runners come in 10 inches wide or 15 inches wide, and they can be 36 inches long all the way up to 108 inches long. So I'm kind of thinking that I could make a table runner using the remaining fabric from the apron that I'm going to make out of this. I've already cut that part. And remember that the ruffle and the ties and the waistband will be made from the calico that, alas, I had hoped would arrive today or yesterday and has yet to do so. So I'm not going to work on the apron, but I have that gorgeous bunny rabbit fabric. So let me go grab that real quick. I just love this. It is so soft, so pretty, so Eastery, and yet it looks so good with my Noritake Blue Hill China set that the reason that I bought it was the fact that it does have these little bunny motif like medallions and this little path of flowers right through the middle. Let me see if I can back it up so you can see what I'm looking at. So here's like a medallion and here's this little path, and it's just a repeat. It does have a direction. Obviously if I flipped it over, the bunnies would be upside down to me, but I'm thinking how cute this would be for an Easter tabletop table runner. And the blue on the other side is like an everyday, but it's kind of a complement to the bunnies. They share some of the same blue hue colors, and the background colors are very similar. So I'm thinking that instead of lining this with anything, I'm going to just simply sew a length of this fabric to a length of this fabric and turn it to the, turn it right side out. But I'm also thinking I might want to either do Prairie Points or scallops. Now I showed you guys how easy it is to do scallops the other day. Unfortunately, I don't think I would have enough fabric to do the scallops, but I might have enough fabric to do Prairie Points, because you can spread Prairie Points out. Well, I mean, I could basically I could spread scallops out, but I still have to have the same amount of fabric. So for Prairie Points, you need, I'll have to double check, but I think it's a 5-inch square. And let me just grab a piece of fabric out of my cabbage stash that I can cut to 5 inches, and I'll show you. Actually, I'll have to do more than one, but I'll show you what that looks like. And I love the look. I think it's really, really pretty, and I think it would look really good with a table runner. Okay, I'm just going to use this. It's a scrap that I have had for quite some time. So I'm going to try it using this little box. I'm going to mark. This is that little box that the double-faced satin ribbon arrived in the other day. I'm just tracing using a water erase pen, my old felt tip water erase pen. I have a new one I'm not real crazy about, but I am going to do another random review, and I'll be reviewing that pen. I would use an acrylic ruler and a rotary cutter to make your squares. You'll get a far better cut, a little bit better, you know, straight up and down lines, and you won't suffer from hand fatigue from all that cutting, because to make these you'd have to have a large number of them. Or you could just buy a charm pack, or, you know, something along those lines. Okay, close that blade up for safety's sake. So you basically have your square here, like this, and you're going to fold one point over to the other point and press. I am not going to get up and grab my iron, but if I were making these, I would have all of them cut, and then I would go over to my ironing board or my ironing mat, and I would then do this step to all of them. It's a great way to make sure that you've cut them properly. And then you fold the fold, you fold that over again, and you press. Now what you have is a Prairie Point, and you can, in fact, at your ironing board, you've already pressed this down, but you can pin just to keep it like this, all right, and then you're going to do all the rest. Now keep in mind, you're going to have two sides to your square that will be cut at an angle. So it could easily stretch out of whack. Just be gentle, you know, just kind of choose a day when you just need something to do that doesn't require a lot of physical activity, and you don't, you know, if you have to get your sewing machine out to sew, you don't have to do that. This is almost like one of those activities you can do when you're watching television. Just don't burn your fingers. Okay, so then you fold that again, like I just did, and go ahead and either pin it or clip it. All right, ouch, don't stab yourself like I just did. Now, I would keep all of this side right here, the folded side, on the same side, like this, so that each Prairie Point has this going in the same direction. I don't think I would switch these around like that. I think that would be kind of weird. All right, and then you're just, to stitch them in, you can baste them, so you could put a pin between each two, like so, and then baste along there if you want to. And then when you have all of your Prairie Points ready to go in a line, a big long line of Prairie Points, you would then lay them on your fabric right sides together, your fabric like this, and these to the inside, and then you would stitch, and then they would, when you turn this out to the outside, these will flip to the outside, and they would look like that. And you can make them as small as you would like. You can take as much of a, a bite out of that as you want, and then trim your inner seam. But they're very pretty, and they do add a detail to your project that you might not get with the scallops. It might, suit your table a little bit better to have the Prairie Points. So I'm kind of thinking, I have plenty of this bunny fabric, and I think it would be really cute to have some Prairie Points made from this. And they would be strictly, they would show on this side, but well, you know what, we're just going to cut one and see what it looks like. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and cut a full strip of this off. And we'll just give it a go, see what happens. I cut 5-inch squares from this fabric, and I know that you can tell that for every piece of this, each one of the Prairie Points will look different, and I can fold them differently. Like I can have one side, I might not like the way it looks, and so I can turn it and fold it the other way to get a different look, either this way or this way, whichever side I want enclosed in the fold. So I went ahead and cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to go press these flat, and then I'm going to, do the fold them in half first, and then fold that fold as well, going this way, and then that way you will always have this double fold right here on one side, and a single fold right here on the other side. And the way you place those is entirely up to you, wherever you want them to be. Okay, so I'm going to go take care of the pressing, and when I come back, they're going to all be pressed, and then I'm going to stitch them together, and we're going to see what that looks like in a line. I did want to show you the product that I use when I'm ironing, especially when I'm doing something with cotton and I'm making Prairie Points. It can be invaluable help to use a heavy starch. I just use whatever I happen to be able to get my hands on at the store. I don't like to use my best press for this type of project because it's such a wonderful thing to use for clothing. It has such a lovely scent. It leaves just a light starch behind. This is more in kind of an industrial, like if I'm sewing a table runner or table topper or something along those lines, I'm going to use this. Now, not to say I wouldn't use this for clothing as well. If I have some heavy twill pants or something that best press is just going to kind of curl up its toes and, flee, then I will definitely use this product right here. Not sponsored, no affiliation, it's just what I purchased and what I use. Okay, then this is how they turned out. And they're so cute. Let me get you down where you can see. Now, of course, I've only made 8 so far, but I feel like they're just precious. You stitch them. I'm going to look at this inch mark right here, the dark gray. I'm going to put the point there, and I'm going to put this point on the other side of the stitch. Okay, that to me is perfect for a table runner. They are not an inch apart, but I'm using this as the bottom guide. Now, if you wanted to put them a little bit closer together, then you can go 2 inches. Using point to point So if you kind of get that in your mind, I think I'm going to go 2. I like that a little bit better. They don't look so widely spaced. Make sure that if you've put this one on the top, that you're going to have all the rest. So the second one would then be on top. So that each of them are on top and you don't have an alternating, because what that does is you have that effect right there. I wanted you to see, I decided to go with 40 of these 5-inch squares. I have obviously done 8 of those, and this is the remaining pile that I have cut out. And what I do when I'm going to press them is I will spray every one of them with starch. I'm just going to pull from here. I'm going to flip them over so that I'm ironing on the back side. And I have the Aliso with the iTouch engaged, meaning it will lift. And then when I touch it, it will go back down to the actual ironing position. And I'm not going to swoosh my iron around. I'm just pressing. Okay, and then I fold this up. And my ironing surface as well as my fabric is hot. So if I just hold it, it will kind of keep its shape. And again, I'm just gonna press. And then I'm gonna look at it and see which of these 2 sides I think would be the prettiest. This has an upside down bunny rabbit, and that would actually be showing. Now it really becomes unrecognizable. I don't think anybody is going to look at that and go, oh, that's the backside of a bunny rabbit. But I still prefer this view. This little vista is a lot prettier to me. So I'm going to fold it directly in half and press. Again, I'm not swooshing my iron around. And then I'm done, and I'm just going to put it over there. And by over there, I mean here. So that's what I'm going to do. This one is already correctly faced. It's wrong side down, or excuse me, right side down, wrong side up. Press, press, fold. It's really warm on this ironing surface. Press. It's probably less than maybe 2 seconds. Check to see which side I want showing, and it's going to be this one. And press. Maybe 2 seconds. And there we go. All right, I will be back here in just a few. I'm going to get this all done, and we're moving on to the next step. I want to give you a couple of ideas. Oh, this is interesting, except that it won't matter because that's going to be along the bottom edge. Okay. All right. So Prairie Points generally are, as we said, lined up. I'm going to just do it this way because I'm doing it this way. So each one that I set down, of course, is on the top of the one that was before it. And all of the folds are going to my left. Now I'm not measuring it, I'm just kind of laying them down so that you can see this. And then, as I said earlier, I'll have fabric right here, so my Prairie Points will be visible to here. But there's another way that you can do Prairie Points. If you want to put them within a project, say this is the table runner and it's going this way, you can actually do your Prairie Points like this, which I think is also very cute. And of course you would be applique stitching these each to the fabric underneath. I've seen Christmas trees. I think they, how do they do those? Like this. Flip that over. And then you just work your way out or something to that effect. Anyway, the other thing you can do is you can fold your fabric as if you're doing a Prairie Point, which in its true form is this fold. But once you've got it all folded and pressed, you can open this out and then cut it on these fold lines, and you'll have 4 triangles that you could then, so you wouldn't have all this waste in a different version like so. I have also seen them done where they overlap each other like that, which I think is also kind of cute. So there are those. And then in quilts, of course a quilt binding would be adorable. My mother made a Irish chain quilt for my oldest daughter, and it had a Prairie Point binding. Is the timer for the bread. All right, there's my 2 stacks. I'll see you guys in a bit. Uh-oh. Oh no. I ran out of bobbin thread. Of course I did. Oh, that's too funny. Oh my gosh. There's a bunch that I don't think any, well, okay. This is how many I got to sew together. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Well, I will stitch again after I refill the bobbin. So I will see you when that naturally occurs. All right. So there are 122 inches of the Prairie Points that I've made. Well, something happened. Okay, so I'm going to turn this. I'm going to square it up. And I'll be doing the same thing, probably not quite as dramatically because I tore this edge, which makes it straight. This is selvage and it should be straight, but it is slightly off. Okay, so that goes all the way. I'm going to pin this down. I'm already enchanted. It's so cute. I'm dying to flip this over. Oh my goodness, is that not just the cutest thing? I love that. I love the way it looks. I'm trying to figure out why. There we go. Okay. I think they're very cute. I just think it's adorable. And this side in particular has just absolutely enchanted me. I love it. Alrighty, so if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. I would love to have you join us. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Alright guys, I just got back from the mailbox. This feels like fabric. Okay, so if you have been following me, you know that when I received the first batch of Speckler Vogel Baby Blue Imperial Batiste, it was cut in such a way that it literally looked like a giant steel monster had taken a bite out of it with a big steel-toothed mouth. That's all I can think of. And I don't watch scary movies. That's just my imagination. So let's just see what happened with this one. Oh, and it was also embedded with glitter. Okay, so we're going to check for the glitter because it came from Los Angeles. Oh yeah, there's definitely glitter. So it must be still on the original bolt. That I wonder if the other end of the chomped area, wouldn't that be funny if I was the only one that was ordering this and it was the matching chomped area? Okay, I'm not seeing it. And whoever did it tore it. They cut a little bit and then they ripped. Which I don't mind because I know at least it's straight. But it has to be washed because I know you probably can't see it, but this is literally sparkling with little tiny flecks of glitter. At least I hope that's what it is. Okay, so I am going to pop it in the wash, and it also still has that dirt. So I don't know where they're storing their fabric, but in any case, it is exactly what I ordered, and I'm thinking somebody must have gotten the other end of the ripped up, chomped up piece because this is much better.